Welcome to today's episode of Ayahuasca, Colombia. We're going to talk about something that very few people talk about, and that is the dark sides and dangers of doing ayahuasca. So, if you are new to this channel, you may be curious about plant medicine, but your curiosity may be combined with precaution, right? Maybe you've heard very positive stories from friends, but also you go online and you see that maybe some people die, perhaps some people go crazy, and you don't know what to think about it. On one hand, it seems like a possible tool that can help you in your journey of better and deeper understanding of the life that you are. But on the other hand, the risks are quite big. What if I go crazy? What if I end up feeling worse? What if I end up traumatized? What if my health is way worse after the ceremonies? What if the medication that I'm taking, or the people, the space, what if something negative happens and I break something even worse than where I'm at, right? So we're going to talk about this. The first thing that is important for us to know is that these risks and these dangers can be classified in three groups. First, we have the inner risks, that is the health, mental, emotional health. Then we have the outer risks, which is the risk of being abused by a facilitator, by a shaman. The risk of being tormented or having something cause an injury in the place where you're doing it. And then we have what I call the post risks, and it's everything went well, but then you're coming back home and now there's a few dangers and things that can happen. So let's start with the first one. The inner risks of doing ayahuasca is mental and emotional turmoil. What do I mean by this? Ayahuasca is a very useful tool if you want to understand better your mind, your past, your history. It can bring you to depths of understanding of spirituality and of yourself. But in a way, it's like getting to the code of a computer. Imagine that you're trying to troubleshoot a problem in your laptop or in your cell phone. And you try your things and maybe it's not working. And then you go to play with its code. Or you take your phone apart and now you are looking at all the wires, how the energy moves, where all the chips and all the stuff that was put into the little like microchips goes. Now there may be some problems there. Maybe you realize that one part got rusty or got wet. Maybe you realize that there's a part where the signal is not being sent because the connection was broken. So you can fix it, but also anything that you do to your phone when it's placed apart can also damage it way more, right? You cut the wrong wire, you touch the wrong thing, you remove a connection that you shouldn't have, and you end up with a bigger problem than before. Or let's say you start playing with the code, and those of you that know about coding, you write a line, you delete a comma, a dot, parentheses, and then the whole program crashes. And this happens to a lot of people during ayahuasca. This is maybe the biggest risk, and is that a person's mind and emotions are more unsettled than before they came. And it's because they went to a place where they start playing with the code, with the hardware. You know, we're having energetic surgery, let's call it like that, during ayahuasca. We open ourselves up to the unconscious, that area inside of us that dictates a lot of our life, but that we usually don't have access to. So what happens when you play with this is that you can break it if or unless you're in the company of someone experienced. So the first risk is this, is that your mind may end up in a worse mental state, that your emotions may be all over the place, and this can happen. I want to admit it, I want to recognize that this is quite common in some medicine houses, that people go there and end up more overwhelmed, more confused, more anxious, more depressed. And the reason is that they're opening themselves up without the proper guidance around how to put it back together better than it was, right? So usually they'll open themselves up, but the people around them don't know how to guide them through the process. So they just cut or move things that shouldn't have been touched. And then, well, the consequences are evident. So that's the first risk of doing ayahuasca, that your mental health and emotional health are going to suffer way more. However, to this, if you do it in a place where the people running it, the shaman and his team, are experienced, then the risk is almost non-existent, because they will know, like an experienced surgeon, they know where to cut, how to seal the wound, how to make sure that it heals without infection, and that the patient recovers promptly, right? So risk number one. Number two, other risks. So safety. In the West, a lot of us assume that a shaman is a good person. A shaman is the wise elder of a tribe, or a shaman is somebody who's very spiritually aware. And it's not true.
Agradeciendo